Hey, welcome to SwissFortress, your personal digital asset fortress. I'm Mihao. I am the co-founder, inventor of this technology. So I'm here to tell you about it and what it has to do with DNA Fund today. So this is a next generation non-custodial digital wallet system that involves both a hardware wallet and a software wallet. And one of its main features, it is the best, probably the best tech in the world for defeating all the fraudsters and scammers. And it is incredibly easy to use. And so I'm about to go through all the features that contribute to those two big pain points that we solve. So here's the overview. So SwissFortress is a wallet where you have a name. We call it a fortress name because appropriately this is your digital asset fortress. And when you have your name, you can now post that name on, say, Instagram or publicly and just say, send me crypto. Or if you want to take a payment, you can just say, pay the so-and-so name. So for example, if your name is Mihal, it's my name, I can put that up on my Instagram. And now all the other wallets in the ecosystem can automatically compute my receive addresses without knowing anything else. They just need to know my name. We have this, I would say, it's not magical because it's math, but it's a one-way non-interactive cryptographic proof that lets all the wallets work like PayPal. So to interact with another user, you simply know their name, and now you can send them crypto. And it can be any crypto that the wallet supports. So currently it supports all the major Bitcoin chains, plus Ethereum, plus Casper, but we're also adding Polygon and probably Near and probably Solana. So there's a lot more chains that are being added to the platform as we speak. Let's dive a little more into how this system works. So when I know a counterparty's name, what happens is that user obviously has a private key, right? That they generated with 12, 18, or 24 word seed. Now, that key is not a single key. You can actually derive a lot more keys from it. There is a curve of keys, right? And what our tech does is if I send that user crypto on any chain, I will automatically compute a receive address on that counterparty's curve. Now, if a different user sends crypto to that same user, the wallets will automatically compute that key, which that receiving address, it's the counterparty's public key, on another portion of the curve. And what happens is every two people are using a little different portion of the recipient's curve. And to be able to make these computations, you actually have to have the private key of either the sender or the receiver. So what does this mean? It means that when I'm sending to Joe and somebody else sends to Joe, I don't know the other person's receive address, right? So it's actually as private as you can make it without having to change. It's as private as you can make it without having to change a chain or modify a chain. So it's like PayPal for all crypto, like I keep saying that, but it means that no one knows how much money you received, even though the way that you receive the money is actually public. All right, the next feature I want to talk about is the encrypted and private chat. So we also have a decentralized encrypted chat. And SwissFortress does not know what you're talking about in the chat. It's end-to-end encrypted, just like we don't know what the receive addresses of our users are. Like we just know there is users, the user list is public, but no one can compute what the users are doing on chain because again, you need the private keys of either the sender or the receiver for each transaction to compute the specific keys for that exact transaction. But the encrypted and private chat has another feature, which is the enhanced self-sovereign identity. So because we have this mathematical proof between these on-chain addresses and these names, you're gonna now attach identity to the name. So you can have somebody, for example, give you some KYC credentials, and then our system turns that into a digital cryptographic credential now you can share with a counterparty. That cryptographic credential can be blinded or unblinded or a combination there of both. So what a blinded credential would be is something like, I'm over 18 and I'm a resident of the USA, signed, state of California. Or it can be a copy of your driver's license, signed state of California, right? And the users are able to have different copies of these KYC credentials. They are decentralized. Once the proof is created, only the wallet has that proof. And now the user can share that proof with a counterparty. So what this is universal identity for all of crypto. Next feature is, of course, you'd love to have a hardware wallet. Now, what's the most secure wallet in the world, right? I'd like to talk about it in sort of 4 layers. So obviously, self-custody is better than the non-self-custodial, right? So self-custody is when you have the keys because it's your keys, your money. is the general way that works, right? But what's the safest way to keep your keys, right? So probably the most unsafe way is a software wallet on a computer because the computer has the most attack vectors. The next safest way is going to be a hardware wallet attached to the computer. But I actually think a mobile phone soft wallet is even safer than a hardware wallet attached to the computer. And the reason I think that is because there's a lot of attack vectors, a lot of way for hackers to get into a PC and trick you into using your hardware wallet to sign a transaction you don't know. Why is that? Because you don't know as the end user whether the address that you're interacting with is actually the counterparty's. So the safest way to have a crypto wallet is to have a crypto wallet on a phone that then has a hardware card. And that's exactly what we made at SwissFortress, a NFC card. This is made by Samsung and Tangem and us. It is patent pending. And in the future, one of the things we're gonna do is put that one more level, because what I really want is a hardware wallet you can tap to a phone that has a screen that says, do you wanna send to Mihao? Instead of, do you want to send to some random address, right? So that's something that's in process as well. It's one of our aspirational goals to get that done. But what we have ready today is the hardware card that taps to the phone. All right, quick analysis of competitive matrix. How is this different than, say, Unstoppable Domains or FIO or ENS? Well, all these systems have centralized databases of the addresses. So the reason they're not in super common use is because if you give somebody your ENS name or your Unstoppable name, they can just instantly look up how much money you transacted via that name. So it's super unprivate, because generally the names are some sort of publicly identifiable thing that you want to attach to your identity, like you want it to be your real name. You want it easy to use. The problem is there's an instant privacy leak. In our case, because of the nature of the one-way non-interactive cryptographic proof, you have all the benefits of using the name, but none of the privacy leaks, plus you get identity on top of that. The market opportunity for this product is obviously pretty big, because there's 575 million identity verified cryptocurrency users today, right? And then that population is increasing to the billions as there is mass adoption. And obviously one of the things that SwissFortress is solving for is a wallet that's usable by anybody, because you don't have to understand a crypto or addressing at all to use the wallet. Our distribution model is based on an API SDK that we have available, so other wallets can use the send-to-name tech, and obviously our own retail wallet, which you can download at SwissFortress.com. And when we work with third parties on the wallet, then what happens is there is a rev share on those names. So our clients make money off reselling the names to their end users, which are available in 1 year, 3 year, or lifetime increments. So let's talk a little bit about malware and phishing and how it's on the rise and how we stop it. Malware and phishing are on the rise. So how does SwissFortress stop it? Well, the biggest way that money is stolen in crypto is through essentially address poisoning, the ability to give a fake address to a user and have them interact with it. So either they'll assign assets that are in DeFi to an attacker's address, for example. They get socially fooled into doing that via all sorts of means, or they get tricked into sending money to the wrong thing via phishing, right? So literal millions of dollars are stolen, millions of digital assets are stolen in this manner every day. And the way we stop it is we eliminate that entire attack vector. Because if you're using names, there is no opportunity for the attacker to give you a wrong address. You can way more easily distinguish the proper name of a counterparty, especially if they gave you a KYC proof, than an address, right? This is something that's very difficult for humans to do correctly, which is why the hackers constantly exploit it all the time. So our business model at SwissFortress is we charge $10 a year for the names, 25 for 3 years, or 99 for lifetime for the top level names. And then we also have special deals for people that are using the API. So for example, if you're a certain crypto project, you will have a certain crypto project namespace that's exclusive to yours. And then we decide on what the pricing is and what the rev share is. Typically the rev share is 25% back to the seller of the name. So if you're a customer that's using our API, you would get 25% of that revenue. Okay, so let's get to the FortressCoin. So what is the FortressCoin? Well, to do all this magic, you actually need to store some metadata on chain, right? Now the metadata is not a list of people's addresses, but it's the metadata that you need to be able to do the computation to compute automatically the counterparty's receive address, which again happens automatically in the wallet every time. So when we started this, we were like, well, let's use somebody else's chain to secure this data. And then we thought about it for a second, and it was like, well, why would we increase the value of somebody else's chain for this totally unique functionality? So what we did is we created our own coin called FortressCoin, which secures this metadata. It's a utility token issued by SwissFortress AG, which is a Swiss company out of Bar, Switzerland. It's deflationary by design, and the reason it's deflationary is every time somebody buys a name, we stake the token for them, right? So the end user does not actually have to interact with the token to be able to use the cool PayPal-like functionality. They just got to buy a name. But on the back end, there is a whole crypto economy that's securing these names. It secures the signaling, the chat, the cryptographic proofs, all the little primitives that you need to be able to have the whole system function. So where are we at today with the round? We're at the very beginning of FortressCoin. This is the private round. It is half a penny. The FDV is 62.5 million. We're selling 7.5% of the supply, and we're doing that with DNA Fund and some other partners as well. Super pleased to be working with DNA Fund on this project. Okay, so private round one has some very special benefits to it. It's a 12-month vest. So when we do the TGE, which will be on a SEX, and we're already working on that. We're targeting it for May of 2025. You get 10% of the token that you buy immediately vested, and then over the next 12 months, it gets pro rata. Then over the next 12 months, it gets pro rata distributed to you on a monthly basis. So it's exciting because the SEX listing is actually coming up. So basically, if you're looking for a shorter term investment, then this is a really great one because we're planning on having a centralized exchange listing in May, and that process is currently going fantastic. And the difference between this round and the next private round is the vesting. Private round 2 is going to be 24 months, right? So basically when you're getting in today, you're getting the lowest price, the best vesting, and you can start to have your token liquid in May. First, we have a token that's going to be available on a number of chains. That token is not the mainnet token. That is what's getting listed on the SEX. The token that is not the mainnet token. Right now, we have a timeline that within the next year, the mainnet will be live. Now, our chain will have its own miners, its own infrastructure. It is not an L2 off of something else. It's a completely original, patent pending technology solution that solves this specific problem related to the send to name infrastructure. As such, after the SEX listing, there will be a swap where you'll be able to swap the token that you're receiving as a part of this DNA round for the actual mainnet token. So SwissFortress product has a very strong technical team behind it. It's the Matterify technical team, of which I am CEO. And we invented all the tech. We have 1 million lines of original code. We wrote our own Bitcoin client, our own C-filter accelerators. We support Ethereum, Casper. We're adding a ton of other chains to it. Lufthansa's Miles & More is actually a partner of SwissFortress. And users, when they buy the names, will be able to get, if they get the lifetime subscription, they'll be able to actually receive airline miles, which is really cool. That you can read about in the press. That was announced a few months back. All right, and our team, seasoned team of VCs out of Switzerland and founders out of Switzerland led by Amar Vahora, who is our CEO. He runs a fund called Ikigai Ventures, which self-funded this entire startup and then got it to the stage it is today. We have Will Adams, who's our head of BD and compliance. Billy Mullins, who's our chief technology officer, was an ex at Goldman Sachs. We have Karolina Komaranitska, who is our chief marketing officer. You may have seen her in some of the videos that we put out on the internet. Terrific marketing officer. And then you have myself. I've been a lifetime hacker since I was 15. I then worked inside the Beltway with the US government, the US Navy being one of my clients. I wrote an intelligence agent software for the US Navy. I've hacked everything from airliners to voting machines to slot machines in my career as a white hat hacker. And basically, I created this technology to be able to defeat the black hat hackers and stop all the theft and fraud. So prior to the SEX listing, which we're targeting for May 2025, there's 2 private rounds happening. The first one is the one that you're in today. That is the one that's happening with DNA Fund. The price is half a penny, and we are selling 4.65 million worth of the token, which is 937 million tokens. And this is the round that vests at a 12-month period with 10% instantly vesting upon the SEX listing. The second round, which is private round 2, is going to be priced higher. It's 3/4 of a penny, 0.075 USD, and we are doing 625 million tokens, which is also 5% of the total supply. The private round 1, which you're in right now, is 7.5% of the total supply at an FDV of 62.5 million.
You say it's valuable.
Okay, so what's the question? What does SEX stand for? SEX? No, if you don't know that and you're on this call, you're probably too young to buy this token.
No, he's just
CEX. CEX is a centralized exchange listing, right? So the RTG is not going to be on a DEX. It's going to be on a CEX with a C, Charlie, Echo, X-ray. The reason we're doing that is basically we have enough traction with the exchanges based on our tech and our white paper that we can skip the DEX phase or we can make the DEX phase optional. So that's why it's going straight to a CEX listing.
And when do you think that happens?
May 2025.
Let's go.
Yeah, the CEX listing, we're targeting for May 2025. It's a token. If you're investing in a token, you know, you could potentially lose all your money or you can make a lot. SEX listings do get delayed sometimes, just like the SEX sometimes gets delayed. Any other questions, Chris?
Can you envision a time when like everybody's just gonna have an email address that you can just send money back and forth in the same format too?
Yeah, so what I envision is gonna happen, and you should definitely watch the Matterify pitch also, because that's another part of this equation. I think we're gonna get bought out in the next year, and both companies, both SwissFortress and Matterify, are gonna get bought out because the tech stack is too thick and we're too obvious of a solution for like huge social media plays like say X to just say, we just want this universal crypto wallet that just works based on X names, but it's fully private, right? As you'll see when I get to the Matterify presentation, we're actually getting traction with a lot of other players. But if you wanna make money today with a token, SwissFortress is the first and only working wallet that's gonna be in production in Q1 2025 that has this technology in it. So let me talk about how it is that we're gonna get users on the platform. So with SwissFortress, we're doing that with a KOL push. So KOL, for those of you that don't know, is a key opinion leader. So it's the guys on X and all the socials that generally observe projects. They're generally considered experts, or sometimes they're just sort of famous people that really believe in a project. Maybe they're not exactly an expert, they just believe in our message. So the people that are supporting us in this launch are obviously DNA Fund, because I'm on the video here with you guys. We also have Mario Narfall. We also have Michael Turpin. We also have the Burbs Nest. We also have Coach K Crypto. So that's 5 pretty big names. And I think we're gonna have a pretty big launch to go along with it. Oh, and the other thing I mentioned is all these folks are here with us until the listing and beyond, right? So because our token is something that's going to be used as the user base grows, it's going to increase in value. This is not one of those things where I expect it to pump and then, you know, go down some and then kind of sit there. I actually expect it to scale up, and you'll be able to easily tell, you know, roughly where the token should be at by the amount of users on the system. And the amount of users on the system, that's publicly available info. And we were even going to, you know, distribute it to everybody and be able to say, hey, we got this many users, etc. So you will be able to see how the utilization is, because every user has to have a name. And then every time they have a name, we stake more coins. So one of the things that we're not doing, which is very typical in like memes or other sort of, I'm not gonna say lower quality, but potentially lower quality projects, is that they burn because they have to have an artificial way of reducing supply. In our case, we don't have to have an artificial way of reducing supply, because as long as we have users, the token is actually being used, and it does something incredibly useful, which is secure the payment system of the future for all of crypto worldwide.
So PayPal has their own crypto now, right?
Yeah.
Money to PayPal, they're just making it through crypto?
They can, but it's a centralized custody system.
But it's similar where they have the name is already identified. They know who I am.
Yeah, but it's a centralized custody system, right? They know who you are, they know your address, it's centralized. That's the problem, right? So when that gets exposed, there'll be another friend.tech scam. You know, and that's the reason why, like, you know, people aren't like, yeah, let's do the MasterCard credential system. But as you'll find out in the Matterify presentation, like MasterCard in our sales pipeline, Unstoppable Domains in our sales pipeline, FIO in our sales pipeline. Like everybody that's already got a name system that's broken is in the Matterify sales pipeline.